Yeah.
Oh,
Hello.
how's it going? Let's- So how's everything been after finishing Illusion Lock?
It's been pretty all right. I've kind of been giving the project some time to like time to be like away from it just for a little bit so I can think about what to do next with it if there's going to be like anything afterwards and like what the game is going to entail. For the most part though, I've just moved into new apartment for school.
Are you alright with how you wrapped up this part of your project, or would you have liked to do something different earlier on?
I think for the time being, I'm pretty happy with how I finished it out. It felt right. But yeah, I'll be here for um, about a half an hour, um, and I'll be happy to answer questions and such.
Indextron is in the Illusion Lock General channel. I think he's writing. He wants to ask questions there.
Yeah, I can do that. The inspirations for Illusion Lock. I think the two that come to mind first would be Petscop and Yumeniki. Those I think were like the two things that I guess I derived most of like the, at least like when it came to the art style and the presentation, it was mainly like that. But I also, there's also some Earthbound influence in there. So yeah, I can answer questions here or in the phone chat or also in the general. Either is fine. The channel icon changed a few times. Were there any reasons why? The first channel icon I had was kind of like an image of a moon, and initially I wanted there to be some like lunar themes in there. stuff having to do with like the passing of time and like day and night, and specifically the moon. And at least for like this part of the project, it ended up not really carrying forward. So I eventually changed the channel icon to a picture of the island, and then eventually the cracks.
So,
The story kind of changed over time. The main premise and like how it was going to turn out, I had in mind before. Um, like before I started doing any of the uploading. Um, it wasn't really that like too much changed, just that there were a couple ideas that didn't end up in like the final presentation of it, like the moon stuff. Um, and I don't really want to elaborate too much on the like what the moon had to do with it, just in case I want to reincorporate some of those themes. For the most part, the story, or like the first batch of episodes was finished by the time like episode 2 came out.
you read our chats, right? In the what we talk about here.
Yeah, I read the chat sometimes.
Do you
I
think
sometimes I look at like the theories and stuff. I think they're very interesting, and it's cool to see how people like react and what their thoughts are.
do you think there's anything important we have missed? We haven't seen yet?
Um, hmm, kind of.
Any
Uh,
clue?
I guess like I don't want to like explain too much of it, just because I feel like what I put out has a lot of um I forgot that this Necrosander can't join. I'm guessing. Um, what was my workflow in producing Illusion Lock? Um, that kind of changed over time. For the first 14 episodes, it was pretty solid. And I had like that batch of episodes pretty much finished by the time like episode 2 or 3 came out. So I could have like that first arc completed before I knew like exactly like I guess kind of what I was getting into by posting it. The workflow was very like I would develop ideas over time, over like long periods of time, and think about them more often. And then eventually, when the actual recording process happened, a lot of it was improvisational. At least with like the dialogue. So I knew like what I was gonna say, but I didn't know exactly how I was gonna say it until I actually did the filming and the voice recording. The first thing I actually made with Illusion Lock was the music was one of the first things that was finished. Like I had the idea of the characters and the tooth home and stuff, but for the most part, like the soundtrack was one of the first steps to the process. And then my plan was pretty much to have the soundtrack and then sort of work from there. I feel like music can be a very like good starting point for ideas. Was season 2 planned from the beginning? Season 2 was, I knew I was gonna do like a continuation of it. But everything after episode 14, like I started working on those episodes like uh in the middle of posting the first couple episodes. So by that point, it was kind of like I would post an episode, then like make the next one, then maybe make the one after it, and then I'd post them. And if I had like enough episodes to upload, sometimes I'd do it in like bunches. But it was also like I kind of wanted for episodes after 14 to be a little bit like, how do I put this? It was a lot more process oriented where I didn't really have everything planned out as much, and it was really like an episode by episode kind of basis. Right up until episode 20, which I made after episode 19 was uploaded. And it was at that point I realized I wanted to give the web series a break, or I guess like a second break, considering that there was like an ending of sorts at 14. But I guess there was like a few more things that I wanted to explore with Edgar's story, and the reason I decided to go with or one of the reasons I decided to go with the ending that I did is because I feel like it matched. I feel like it kind of matched up with the process that I was doing for the last couple episodes, where I didn't really know what I was getting into, and a lot of the content was a little bit mysterious to me as well. Where I kind of I knew how I was going to do something, but I didn't know exactly what it was going to be. There was what's your favorite episode, either from how it turned out or making it? I mean, I do really like episode 7, because that's where it really starts to, like, you get the introduction of the monster in that episode. And there's a couple other details and stuff that are important, that are established in that episode, that are, like, hinted at in the one before it. I also, I think it was, let me check, I think it's episode 18. The one with, like, no, it was episode 17 with the, like, the whole, like, puppet show and, like, the movie theater stuff. I sort of envisioned that to be, like, almost like a pre-climax to the next episode with the boss fight. And I think that was definitely a more striking episode because of how it incorporated, like, actual footage as opposed to like in-game recordings. There were also, like, stuff that I filmed, like, with my phone. Will the future Illusion Lock builds be canon or closely related to the web series? Also, what's your song from the soundtrack? Oh, favorite song. I'm not entirely sure about, like, the future of Illusion Lock, aside from, like, vague ideas. And I think with Edgar, like, there's definitely things that I could resolve more, and I'm still, like, internally debating whether or not I actually want to give those answers, or if I want to keep it more vague. I think Edgar, in some form of another, is going to be present, like, throughout the rest of the series. Like, his his essence will kind of be there, like, in certain details, and I think also the whole thing with the street lamp is going to be given a different perspective, because there's very little of that in the actual web series. It only appears at the very end, and I think kind of having that be vague and, like, up to interpretation allows me, like, more, like, freedom to choose what I do eventually want to fill in the blanks with later on. My favorite song from the soundtrack, that's a tricky question. I think I can answer, like, my favorites in, like, each category. Like, my favorite level theme would probably be level 4. I do really like that song, and I explain a little bit of at least why Edgar really likes that song in one of the episodes. But one of the things that Edgar says about that song is that it's, like, his favorite and that it's also the first one that he wrote for Illusion Lock. And while I do really like the song, it wasn't the first one that I actually made for it. I made that song a little bit after some of the other tracks. That was mainly a reason for Edgar to have that take. Which is, there's a little bit of connection as to why that also plays inside the fish. And my favorite boss theme is probably the final. Well, not the final. Actually, the final boss is good, but also the emissary fight because of the switch up in the middle. It was originally going to be two different songs, and then I kind of fused them together later in the process. The first song that I actually made for Illusion Lock was Level 7 and Level 3. Because those two tracks I composed even before like Illusion Lock was an idea. Like those two tracks are old. The first track that I had in mind with Illusion Lock, like when I actually started with the project, was the Tooth Home. And I kind of wanted, it stemmed from the idea of having a song that every time it loops, it plays like one pitch lower to sort of give the feel that, like, even though the song is really calming and like serene, it feels like it's descending, like slowly descending into something. The last track I made for Illusion Lock was any of the bonus tracks were pretty late in the process. The SOP terminal. Yeah, the SOP terminal was very like Yumaniki inspired. Because of how like it's like one like melodic motif that's like just like looped over and over again with certain changes throughout. Like there's like the high like guitar thing, and then there's also some ambience in the background that's like changing. I think it gives off like the spooky vibe pretty well.
How did you design the monster? The main one.
I designed Sop the monster as like kind of to be like this like smiling like nightmare creature. Like I definitely like wanted to draw something that was scary and jarring compared to like the other visuals. Some of the design is like partially inspired by this one character from another web series. I'm not sure. I think it's Paradnik Usmishu. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but it's Smile Guide. There's this character named Maggie who's a squirrel, and she was like, yeah, Mushroomland. That was kind of like a bit of an inspiration for the design. the tooth roots area stemmed from the idea stemmed from having the tooth home on the island, and eventually I thought, like, well, if it's a tooth, like, it could be growing roots like underground, like a tooth would, like, or even like a tree would. And something I kind of wanted to focus on with illusion lock was the idea of like diverging paths, which I still want to kind of explore in later stuff. And I feel like just the shape of roots, I think is really fascinating, and how it can sometimes be comparable to like the roots of a tree, and like trees and teeth like both have roots, and both have like a subsection that's different from the actual thing, sort of like this dark underworld. So like you can be in, like, there's the tooth home, and then there's like the roots of the tooth home, which is like where like the more like dark stuff goes down, because it's buried underground and you don't see it right away. The development of the actual game. Yeah, actually, I originally wanted the game to be more of like a tactical grid based kind of thing. In like the very beginning, but that changed pretty quickly, when I realized that those can be very tedious to program because, of like paths and like stats and stuff. And I decided I wanted to keep it to like a simple like 2D, top down, like, um, almost like some bullet hell aspects in it. So that was the first. Did I ever die to a level or boss while recording? Like accidentally, like when I wasn't. Um, I think it might have happened. Yeah, it happened once. When I was recording the first couple episodes. Um, where I needed to do like a retake. Because a character died where like I didn't want them to. And I just had to like start that bit over. I also, there was also a time I had to re-record because right when Georgia beat the last boss, my computer wasn't plugged in, so it started like running low, and then the FPS went down, and I had to start from the beginning again with that, which was like a little frustrating. But it was kind of because of those like dry runs, like running through the game without recording, or in like intending to record but then it not being able to, kind of gave way for like certain specific moments in the actual recording, like certain movement patterns and stuff that I would like pick up from previous run throughs. Like I had it planned out that like it would be like, oh, Chester does the first level, then he goes to the second level, and then I show the game over, and then he drinks from the well, then he beats the second level. And I had all that written out, in a list form, so I like knew how I was gonna do that section. And then when I did the voice recording afterwards, it was a lot more improvisational. I do have some scrap designs for main characters. However, I think some of those scrap designs are going to make an appearance later on. So those are kind of secret.
Was Susanna one of them? Or was she always a different character?
Um, I mean, the main character, like, they would be different characters. Like, there were originally going to be more of them, but like each of the characters, like original portraits, are pretty similar to the final designs. I might be able to find like one version of the characters to show like what they used to look like. Um, Still looking for the my computer isn't like the most isn't like super well organized. So it often takes me like a little while to find stuff. Were the cutscenes talking characters programmed or edited in? They were edited in afterwards with Premiere. They were not programmed from scratch.
Does that include the hatching egg scene?
Including what?
The scene with where the egg is hatching in the roots of the tooth comb.
The hatching scene? Yeah, that was also not programmed. That was part of like the post editing in film. Yeah, I can't seem to find the original files. Sorry. Um. Oh, see you, Gus. Do I have any series or projects that predated Illusion Lock? Nothing like web series related. I do have some albums that they're on Bandcamp and Spotify under Parson Hacks, and I made those before Illusion Lock. So if you want to hear some of my music, it's up there.
What was the hardest episode to make?
Episode 15 was the hardest one to make because there's so many different settings. Like they're on the ocean, then they're back on the island, and then they're in the Tooth Home Roots. And there's a bunch of different places where the characters and Edgar go. And there's also a lot of post editing in Adobe Premiere. Um, yeah, I came up with the idea for when Braxton starts like walking over the ocean, like being out of bounds. I got that idea while playing the game before the actual like boundaries of the island were programmed in. So there was a portion of the game at one point where you could actually like walk out into the ocean, and I thought like that it'd be very interesting to kind of explore that more and have like that out of bounds video game feeling. I think I'll take a few more questions and then I'll head out. Um, so far, um, I don't know about like the plot if I want to like give all that away, but I would say that like as a story, like if there's any like of the central ideas that it revolves around, I think one of the main ones is like coping with like a loss of connection with something or someone, um, as well as the stuff that forms because of it. basically the characters. I mean, like one of the intentions I had with the characters is that the reason they start talking to Edgar is because of the phone call with Ralph, and it's because of like that experience Edgar has, um, that like causes, I guess, like his heart to shatter, and then that translates itself into the game as being like the shattered like shards of like a heart, which is what the characters represent. But then they form back together to create a new being Yodis, who's sort of represented as like a deity kind of figure. The origins of Sop, I want to be, as well as like the intentions of Sop, I kind of want to be more like shrouded in mystery. Because with it being like this sort of other creature, kind of like evil entity thing, I feel like a lot of the fear comes from not entirely understanding it, and like where it formed and what happened to like cause it to start like corrupting the game. Um, but there's a couple like details that are mentioned, like how Ralph was the person who showed Edgar the sleep operation program, but Ralph was also the person who realized afterwards that it was dangerous. So in a way, like um, it was because of Ralph that Edgar's whole journey happened. But at the same time, it's also Edgar's fault because he was the one who um, directly, I guess, like manifested Sop into the game. I think there's like a little bit of hinting at the idea that like Edgar isn't the first person um, where this like happened, because when Ralph during the phone call explains like why the program is dangerous is because he did research on it, which means there were already some shady cases revolving around the sleep operation program. Is Ralph's story character going to be relevant? I think Ralph himself is not going to be as relevant, but his mark is still going to be there. Because I see Ralph as a character who was involved with the whole thing, but then left and decided to not look back at all. In a way, he's like the one that got away before anything could happen to him. So there's kind of like, I guess, like the ghost of Ralph, like his memory is present throughout Illusion Lock, even though you only hear Ralph speak once. Who played Ralph? Oh, I did. I just lowered the pitch of my voice. Um, and like did a whole bunch of EQing and compressing to make it sound like he was talking on a phone. But all of the voice acting is me for the whole series. Yeah. All right. I think I'm gonna head out now. Um, but thanks for the questions. I might do another one of these at some point. Not sure when yet. Um,
It's nice to talk to you, anyways.
Thank you. All right. I'm gonna head out now. See ya.
See you.